Greetings, this is Dr. Derek Sweet. Welcome to the Performance Suite. Today's topic, the female athlete and the sleep cycle. So, one of the things that we want to talk about right off the top is that women are more likely than men to report not having a good night's sleep. Women are also more likely than men to report more daytime sleepiness. And the current research shows that women need an average of 20 to 30 more minutes of sleep each night, more so than men. And what's so interesting is that the studies show that most women are not getting the rest and sleep that they need. Now, this is just women in general. Imagine if you're an athlete, a female athlete, that is functioning at the elite level, the pro level, with all of the demands and stresses and pressures that are heaped on you, and you also have to do everything that any woman does in the real world, quote unquote. So it's really important that we understand how sleep affects you as a female athlete. So right off the bat, I'd like you to know that one of the reasons that women need more sleep than men is that in general, their brains work harder. Your brain as a female, as a woman, actually works a lot harder than the male brain in many ways, because if you look at the way that the brain of a woman is constructed versus a man, you will see right off the bat that women have many more interconnections between the right brain and the left brain, and men have more connections going forward, anteriorly and posteriorly, forward and backwards over the brain, whereas women have a ton of connections going across the brain. What that means is that women are able to multitask and use the right brain and the left brain and really integrate information. They can sense things, they can be logical and emotional, they can read situations faster and process things at a deeper, higher level. It's not to say that men cannot do that. Of course men can, but they don't have the similar connections. Men can be a little bit more linear and more focused and have more spatial abilities. Women tend to have an ability to multitask and do more. So understanding those connections are important, because they actually have an implication for if a woman is going to be able to, how a woman is going to be able to handle stress is going to be different than how a man might handle stress. Another important thing is that women's brains actually contain more gray matter. I should say men's brains, though they are larger anatomically, it doesn't confer more intelligence according to the studies. What happens is that women's brains actually have larger amounts of gray matter in areas of the brain that affect memory, like the hippocampus, for example. That's a memory region of the brain, and women tend to have more gray matter there, as well as in the communication centers of the brain, like the caudate nucleus. So women's brains are also better at perceiving and understanding how other people are feeling and thinking. As I said, women's brains use multifactorial processes to be able to read situations at a higher level. So let's just say that with superior memory, superior emotional, multitasking, and perceptual abilities and social intelligence abilities, women tend to experience higher levels of mental processing. And what does that mean? That means that they also might be more prone to having more stress and anxiety because they are taking in and carrying so much. Another important point with sleep is that women who are menstruating often complain that their sleep cycle is not efficient, or they don't feel like they get enough sleep. And athletes who are menstruating, same thing. Just before the menstrual cycle, you have a lowering of two important hormones, estrogen and progesterone. When these hormones are lower, they result in symptoms of discomfort, and they actually affect the sleep cycle rather negatively, in that women are not able to sleep well. Now, during the cycle, these hormones do rise again, and there are periods of relief. But then you have the complication during the menstrual cycle, where core body temperature rises as at some point past ovulation, and that can also create a feeling of not being able to sleep, because typically we like our body temperatures to be cooler when we're sleeping. So what am I saying? I am telling you that as a woman and a female athlete, there is a physiological reason why you may not be sleeping, and not always a psychological or a stress-related reason. So this is something that should be kept in mind. Okay, so let's look at sleep. What exactly is sleep? It's a behavior, and it's an important recovery behavior. Sleep is important because physical reconstruction and mental regeneration happen during sleep. And incidentally, we as human beings spend a third of our life in sleep. Think about that. 1/3 of our life is spent in sleeping hours. Now, sleep is broken down into two important components that I'd love to share with you. One is REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. REM sleep is critical and important for mental recovery. The other component is non-REM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep. This sleep is really important to physical recovery. And here's the important thing that few people really appreciate. You really need to get 7 to 8 hours, because the non-REM sleep, the part of the sleep that gives you physical recovery, happens within the first 4 to 5 hours of the night. Let's say the first 4 hours is really heavy for non-REM sleep. This is where your body is repairing itself. This is where your hormones are being repleted and replaced. This is probably where the highest amount of human growth hormone is secreted, right? So if you want tissue repair, if you want muscles to recover, if you want to heal from an injury, this part of sleep is really important, the non-REM part, which happens in the first 4 hours. But mental recovery, remember, we have REM sleep as well. We're not so lucky to have REM sleep in the first part of the night. REM sleep really increases only towards the latter half of the sleep cycle, meaning that within the 5th hour, the 6th hour, the 7th hour, the 8th hour, just around those last 3 hours of sleep, that's where you get all of your mental recovery. So that's why if you sleep like 4 hours or 3 hours, you may not wake up mentally fresh. You can be physically restored, but not mentally refreshed. So to get mental refreshing sleep, you must sleep the 7 or 8 hours. And I hope that point really sticks home. And just to give you some of the important things that happens in the body during REM and non-REM sleep is to remember that your body circuits are cleared. Your entire body circuits are cleared during non-REM sleep. So sleep is not something that you just do just to rest. There's a reason that you're sleeping, that your body has to clear out all of its systems. The brain clears its systems during REM sleep. So again, critical factors that are going on for you, and we're really trying to push the point home. Now, the other important thing is that sleep deprivation is tied into injury, and women tend to have a higher injury risk profile than men, according to research. Things like ankle injuries and knee injuries, even concussions, happen at a higher rate in female athletes than they do in men. Part of the reasons for this could be the estrogen levels, the the fat content of the body, the having less muscle mass. Women also tend to have different biomechanics than men. They jump differently and land differently and run differently, and so they're susceptible to different kinds of mechanical injuries. So it's really important that they get sleep because, as we said, sleep actually helps reduce the risk of injury and also speeds up the repair of injury. So another major reason to have a minimum of the 7 or 8 hours sleep is knowing that it definitely affects injury. Now, the benefits of sleep for athletes have been studied, and I'll tell you just briefly some of the findings that have come about. Faster reflex and reaction times. Athletes who get 7 to 9 hours of sleep have faster reflex and faster reaction times. They have faster hand-eye coordination, faster sprint times, faster physical recovery times. They are faster to make decisions on the court and to have better cognitive functioning. So they also have increased endurance and increased energy. They tend to finish really strong. These are just some of the benefits by extending the sleep. They studied athletes who had 5 hours sleep, and then they gave them an extra 2 hours or an extra hour, and they measured their free throw shooting, their field goal percentage, and their batting averages. And lo and behold, they noticed that these athletes did way better once they had more sleep. So critical to think about sleep as a female athlete for so many reasons. I am going to stop here. We can go on and on, but I want you to know that sleep is a secret weapon of the champion. The last thing I'll leave you with, a bit of good news, is that female athletes can function better, according to science, with less sleep compared to men. And you as a female athlete may rebound more quickly from sleep deprivation than a male athlete. The only trouble is that all athletes who are sleep deprived and who train and who compete when sleep deprived tend to have a higher risk for injury. So don't get too excited if you're listening to this and you're a female athlete, or you're looking at this and you're a female athlete, and I've just told you that you function better with less sleep because science says that you can. Remember, science also says that you are also at a higher risk for injury. So just be careful, be powerful, definitely include sleep as part of your recovery regimen and as part of your secret weapon, and do your best to get 7 or 8 hours so you can get the benefit of the REM and the non-REM sleep. Physical recovery and mental recovery sleep go together. Okay, now, this is Dr. Derek Sweet. Thank you for listening to the Peak Performance Suite. Until I see you next time, I'll leave you with this comment: go hard or go home.